Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Real Estate Roundup podcast. My name is Kobe Zinn, and I am your host. And I am joined here, as always, by my co-hosts, real estate agents and investors in the great state of Texas, Andres Martinez and Tony Flores. How you doing, guys?
Hey,
Doing great. How are you doing?
doing
I'm doing pretty
awesome.
good. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. I'm really excited about today's episode here because we're going to be touching on, some of the training and events that we are doing within our brokerage and especially our team at eXp Realty for agents, whether if you're newer, a little bit of experience, looking for additional training, and just how all these things can benefit you if and when you do decide to take a look at the model and potentially come join us over here. But before we do that, let's catch up a little bit and so we're wrapping up here the first month of 2024. Done probably a lot in this first month. If not, no worries. It's just the first month of 2024. There's always room to improve on that. But as far as just wrapping up January 2024, what have you guys been? What have you guys done, and what are some things you guys are looking forward to do that maybe you didn't get the chance to do in 2024? It could be in your real estate business. It could just be in your personal lives, anything. But I think it's good to kind of recap the month as we wrap up here. How about we start with you, Tony?
Okay, yeah. So having a pretty interesting start to the new year, working through a home that I actually purchased here about 2 months ago, and have someone that's kind of going through the process, still getting him out of the house and getting his belongings, everything like that. So going through that process, and so that we can get the flip started. So it'll be a fun one. And he just had like a lot of dogs to deal with and things like that. So we're just working through that. Outside of that, also making really good, solid connections with some of the new home builders, the new construction reps in the area, connecting them through different channels and getting updates on their inventory, the inventory that's existing, and also stuff that's coming around the corner, finding out about some of the special things that they have, like they're offering lease buyouts, they're offering rate buy downs, of course, lower prices right now probably than we'll see in the springtime. So it's just a really good thing. We're just making really good connections with them, and also working on a really interesting product for seniors, how seniors can save money when they're buying a home, and helps them get out of maybe an older home into a more modern home for that doesn't have so many repair issues, things like that. So just working through a lot of things like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a pretty good start to the year, I would say. Being productive and getting a lot of things done. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about how these things play out. As we progress through the year. Nice. And what about you, Andres? What have you been up to? I know you've got a lot going on. You got some travel plans coming up as well, and looking forward to those.
As far as for me, I have been trying to help my client close on his property. I did a listing for him, and he's also buying a new property. So we're going through the inspection process, making sure that have a second set of eyes, put a thorough inspection, so we can make sure that my client is confident when he closes. And then also, I've been networking with all the new builds. I have been sitting down with a lot of loan officers and mortgage companies. I'm actually going with a loan officer to Detroit, and he's going to explain the product. He's going to let me walk the campus with him and just get more information in regards to how what uh, products they offer and how they could help my clients. I also did a couple of client appreciations. Since the beginning of the year is a little slow, I have made an intentional effort to thank my clients, touch bases with them. Just like I have goals, we had a vision board this weekend. So just to share ideas and kind of be a part of their growth is always rewarding as a real estate agent. We love helping you buy a home. We love helping you list, not just to help you in a sell or when you buy, but it's to be a resource. And we all go through things in life, and our kids get older. We might get a promotion at work. Those things we want to make sure that we make them special for our clients, just to so we can make sure we maintain and nourish that relationship. But just really focusing on getting as much information from the lenders as interest rates start to go down, and having that education for my clients and just letting them know that I appreciate them. So that's what I've been focused on.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I hope you have a good trip to Detroit. It looks like pretty exciting stuff coming up. And speaking of that, right? So I think it's a good transition into kind of what we wanted to touch on a little bit today, which are some of the upcoming events coming up within eXp, training events, live events coming up all around the country, really all around the world, if you think about it. But also some of the training that we get online as well for real estate agents at eXp. So we'll start off talking a little about some of the upcoming events. I know, Andres, you have one. You have one plan. Like I said, some travel plans coming up in the first quarter of the year. So, what are some events that people can be looking forward to? Whether they're looking to join EXP, maybe they're looking into the model. What are some of these events that are coming up throughout the year, and what can people be expecting from those? So, we'll talk a little bit about that, Andres. We'll start with you.
So I know we're having a mastermind, and it's also marketed as like a party bash, right? But it's I'm going to Cabo with some of my colleagues from eXp. It is a mastermind where like-minded people share information, and just share their experience. And then we also get to communicate and grow relationships that we might need to reference throughout the year, as far as if we need to ask a question. Um, Different areas of the United States go through different times in the market. So just building those relationships. Right now, it could be a little bit slower in Texas, but it could be really active in California. At points, it could be a little bit slower in California, more active in Texas. Just noticing how the trend, and maybe if some issues arise or some questions arise, like when your specific region experienced this, how did y'all navigate through it, right? Like the buy downs is something that we were able to navigate 2023 and bring that benefit to our clients. Well, when you build these relationships and you're hanging out with your EXP colleagues and you're enjoying, um, you're able to have that line of communication. And then any training, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some more AI training there. They're going to let us know any updates as far as what's going on with new laws, right? Anytime you're into real estate, new laws get updated. Sometimes it might be national, sometimes it just might pertain to a specific state. So just trying to see what's new and how everything's going in the market in specific regions, just to share that is really cool and neat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So those events are really good for exactly that purpose, which is you're getting trained, but you're also able to network with people who are, in other markets who are doing maybe things that are similar to you or maybe a little bit different that you can learn from and maybe even work together and create referral partnerships. I've actually seen and heard of a lot of agents who've done that across state lines at these events where they, meet up another agent and or maybe they're an investor and they ended up building another business together or another stream of leads coming in through referrals. So it's really cool. And for a lot of people who don't know, right? EXP is a virtual or a cloud based brokerage, but we're not just completely cloud based all 100% of the time. We do have these local events, in person events as well. So I'd love to get your take too, Tony, on some of these events. I know you've been to quite a few of them throughout the years that you've been here. So what are your thoughts on them? What do you think an agent's really going to be able to benefit from it and get out of those big events that we host, a couple of times a year with the company?
Yeah. So the main thing with the events that are coordinated, they're done by really high level. They're either done by corporate or some really high level people within our organization. They know what people are looking for. They're looking there to create relationships. And in real estate, it's really, starts with the relationships, and it really helps people develop relationships with each other, getting to know each other. I connected, in our more recent event in October, um, are connected with another investor that I actually knew from an investing group. Just met up with them, talked to people, so meeting up with her in an event. She actually lives in Austin. I live in San Antonio, and we met in Las Vegas. So it was just like, hey, great seeing you out here. And we were talking about some different stuff. Since then, since we made that connection in Las Vegas, we've talked about possibly either here in San Antonio. She does some marketing in the San Antonio area and in different things like that. So I met with her. We also met some different people at the Build event I think that was in July. But yeah, it's just great. I mean, real estate, at the end of the day, it's about building relationships. Knowing different people in different markets is always a great benefit, because you can also connect with them in, well, we have a workplace. And so that's also the other part of it, is like going to these events, but also making sure to do that second part, which is doing that connection afterwards and saying, hey, just here's my information. If we haven't, exchanged it at that point, exchange it. Make sure to follow up with everyone. One of the agents that we met in Las Vegas did a great job. She was handing out different goodie bags, and she said, you scan my barcode, we'll connect on Instagram, things like that. So it's a great way just to market yourself, appeal to people from your own network, and then just let them know what you're doing, what you're up to, and see how y'all can help benefit each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. You guys got some pretty cool gifts from those from those
Swag
gift bags.
bags.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some pretty cool glasses. I remember. Those are neat. But yeah, I think a lot of people, when they, especially agents, right, who are working maybe because real estate's very local for a real estate agent, so they're not really thinking about going to too many events throughout the year, because they have clients they need to take care of, that leads they need to generate more leads and get more business. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on maybe how many events, and it doesn't have to necessarily be an event hosted by your brokerage or a specific brokerage, but just you hear about all the time, all these big training events hosted by other coaches or different brokerages and different agents as well. How many of these do you think an agent should be aiming to go to a year? And what do you think is the best way for an agent to actually get something out of these training events? We'll start with you, Andres, and maybe some experience from the ones that you've been to. How can an agent get the most out of some of these events?
So what I think is, I would recommend one at least once a quarter or at least twice a year. The reason is, when you do your business planning for the year, you got to set benchmarks or goals, right? And these events are great times to evaluate your growth um, towards your goal for the year. So if I'm going to go to an event every quarter, if there's an event every quarter, I have a goal. Like, I will set a goal, like I would like to help 8 families. And then that motivates me. I'll get out, I'll market, I'll educate myself, and I'll try to help as many families as possible. And then I'll do some self reflection and evaluation at these meetings, these masterminds. Um, Another thing I would like to point out is we do a lot of masterminds online weekly, and a lot of our peers that we get to know online, we physically get to meet them at some of these events. So there's some excitement there. We get to have lunch. We're able to kind of pick each other's brain and kind of just um, build that relationship that you've already built online, on Zoom, in some of these training events. What you can get out of the training is, when it comes to motivation, the way these events are planned out, they're not boring. You're not going to be stuck on like an hour, 2, 3 hour class. It's 45 minutes. They get straight to the point. They give you all the information needed pertaining to that specific topic. If it's AI, you'll get the best 45 minutes of AI, and then they'll move on to the next topic. So at that point, you're getting the most important information, and then they'll give you a resource where you could follow up when you go back home, and you're able to access more information either through an online mastermind, uh, the EXP University. So there's different resources. So they'll give you why you need it, the importance, how they're using it, and how you can learn it. So I think that's the benefit of the events.
Yeah. And then you brought up a pretty good point there, which is, people need to be following up after the events on some of the things that they learned and they got, right? And we have those resources, and usually people have those, right? Or at the end of the training, they'll give you, some type of guide or course that you can kind of go back on. And it's important for, if you are to go to these events and invest the time and the money, to actually go back and when you get back home, follow up on some of these things. So that's really good advice on how to get the most out of these events. Well, what about you, Tony? What do you think, as far as, being, kind of like a busy investor, busy agent, what are some, what are some strategies for getting the time out of your day or getting the time out of your year to actually go to these events, and then making sure that investment actually pays off?
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of, yes, be picky on what you. There's so many different. There's so many different training opportunities or networking opportunities in the industry, because at the end of the day, we have to manage our schedules, and so some of the events are like the destination events would be like going to Cabo, going to Vegas, the build event, just different things like that. There's also probably multiple things that are targeted towards realtors in the local areas. So you can find that through Facebook posting, through Eventbrite, different things like that. A mortgage company would sponsor an event to do something, a new home construction. The person would be sponsoring something as well, because they want you to learn about their business. And so it definitely is easy to get distracted by going from event to event, because they, a lot of times they will offer you to get free lunch. They'll offer you to get a new headshot for the new year or whatever. You didn't like your old one, take headshots here, things like that. And those are great things that add value. You just have to go in there with a purpose and know, okay, what do I want to achieve out of this meeting, and how do I best utilize my time with that? And so it could be learning about their product for sure, is a great option if you're getting into new construction, or learning about the certain builders processes. Andres and I, we went to one of the big builders here in San Antonio probably about 2 months ago, and kind of learned through their process of how they build the homes, what makes their homes different. So that's something that we can take that information and convey it to our clients or future clients and things like that. So those are things that, for us, we value those things, because we don't want to just kind of be there with them, our client, and not know anything about those homes. We want to be able to say, oh yeah, I know about this home, or go through some of the things that we learned about the construction, how they build their headers, or different things about they could use 2x4s here and 2x6s there. Just interesting things that clients might be willing to know or interested in finding out about. Mortgage, going to something for that's being sponsored by a mortgage company. I'm really keying in on what are the takeaways that I'm expecting to get out of that, and then how can I best utilize that for my clients or future clients. And another tip that I like to tell people is like, hey, if you're at a networking event, you gather some business cards. It's a great idea just to take a picture of that business card while you're there, because if you lose track of it 2 months later, you're like, I met somebody at this place because they do this. So you can, with an iPhone, of course, I'm not sure if Android's the same, but you can kind of geotag. You look through the geotag and say, okay, I was at that location, whatever street was on. Oh, there's that person's business card, instead of trying to fumble through a big stack, which you might have as well. So, um, so I would say for the local type of events, I would say probably maybe 2 a month might be a good target. And obviously, the busier you are, the harder it is to do. But just guard your time well.
Yeah, go ahead.
So something I would like to share is just a little story on how like I met Kobe. So I got invited to a build event last year here in San Antonio, and Tony had invited me to the build event. I was not a part of EXP, but he was like, "Hey, I want you to come visit. I want you to take a look. I want you to see the information that is going to be readily available to agents in EXP." So I go to the event. Um, they're having a class and letting us know the importance of social media and kind of building, having a footprint like podcasts, uh, post on Facebook, Instagram. So after that specific class, we end up having lunch. I met Kobe, um, and then we actually had a very good conversation. There was no conversations about social media or anything. We were just trying to get to know each other, just enjoy lunch, right? A lot of people are in brokerages where your broker or another real estate agent might tell you, hey, you need to have a footprint on social media. You need to make sure you're on Facebook. Hey, why don't you start a podcast? But we have, first of all, a lot of us have fear. We're afraid of the camera. We don't know how we're going to sound. We don't know how we're going to look. Um, and then, second, is because we have that fear, some of that fear is because we don't even know how to start a podcast. We don't even know how to, some people don't know how to use Facebook or Instagram, right? Depending the age gap, right? For some people, it's tough. For other people, it's pretty straightforward. The one thing is, once I became a part of EXP, um, when we started talking about social media and being in some of these masterminds and then getting into communication with Kobe, he was like, hey, Andres, this is my lane. This is where, if you need something with social media, if let's start a podcast. He shared that with Tony. We started the podcast. Uh, we started doing this joint venture. Uh, it helped ease some of the fear. There was someone who had knowledge that was guiding me through the process, and we are now like growing, and we have a couple of episodes in. I feel 100 times better today than I did the first day. The thing about these events is I built a relationship with Kobe. I had that relationship with Tony. We all worked together. And even though I got that class and I was super motivated, I didn't know how I was going to do it. Thanks to the relationship I have with Kobe and Tony, I was able to move forward with having a footprint in social media.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, Andres. I think it's so much easier, right? And we talked about this in previous episodes as well. It's so much easier when you have other people who are doing the same things that you want to do or you are also doing. But they have an aligned interest with you, so they'll help you get it up and going. They're not only teaching you what to do, but they're actually doing it with you throughout the way, so that way you gain more confidence and you're able to do it yourself and do it even better one day than the people that you're learning from. So I think it's good to touch on this a little bit as well, because we talked about the events and some of the live trainings that we get with EXP, and with our group, but also some of the online trainings that we get, right? Some of the ones that really, I will say, when agents come through, those are the first trainings that they're actually exposed to, unless they went to an event first. So out of I'm sure there's a lot of people who have, especially newer agents, who have concerns when they're coming over to a cloud-based brokerage, are they actually going to get trained? What kind of training do they have? So just from your personal experience coming into EXP, what would you say the training is structured like? What would you say is, beneficial about cloud-based training? And what can a new agent or just an agent who's new to EXP expect out of all the resources and trainings you get? So we'll start this time with you, Tony, and then we'll go to Andres.
Yeah, so starting in real estate or starting with the new brokerage is always going to have its own challenges no matter where someone goes. The good thing with eXp is we have a training calendar, which is online. Currently, we are kind of sunsetting what we have as what's called eXp World. It's an app we're using on our desktop. We're transitioning now to exp.world, and that's getting started in February 2024. So that'll be really cool. And the next thing we're going to do, so on eXp World, we have eXp University. It's about 14, I think it's 14 modules of training. And that's the benefit of doing that on the cloud is because people that have already been used to working from home, or they might be in remote locations, they can pretty much do that from anywhere they have internet connection. And then the other part of that, if it's a brand new agent, they are paired up with a mentor, which the mentor will help them take them through those first 3 transactions. If they want to continue with them after 3, it's the individual's choice to keep kind of doing that for however they feel comfortable with, but that's for the first 3. And of course, there's always lots of resources within eXp, lots of people that can help out no matter what. So we have the eXp University online. We also have the brokers have their own kind of training as well, and that's kind of done almost like a circular training where if you join, it's like an 8-week program. If you join on week 5, you start on week 5 training. We go to 6, 7, 8, and then start back with 1, so that all those trainings are completed. And those are the Texas broker specific, or depending on your state, it'll be the broker specific training that they feel like they want to just fill in some of the gaps with, as opposed to the general. We have those 2 trainings, and that's what's really cool is on a lot of them, outside of those kind of onboarding trainings, we have the icon training. So the icons, those are the highest level really of people that are selling and doing the most business in eXp. They do their own training. They are offered to do training. They accept the offer. They accept the offer to do training, and they say this is what they're doing, to do so well in their business. So that's some of the things, really really cool things that a lot of different training channels here, and we of course we have also, besides the training, I forgot to mention we have regional rally events as well. So forgot to add about that.
Yeah, there's so much that you get,
It's
right? And
vast.
yeah, yeah, there's so much that you get, and you get training from your brokers, you get training from other agents, you get trainings from just everybody who's at the actual company. So I think for something that people don't know is for the icon agents, they hold big stock positions at EXP, so they're actually very much incentivized for it's an incentive for them to actually train all of the agents that are coming up, because if the company does better, then it's not on the realm of possibility that their stock positions will go up, and they're earning more equity in the company as well. So from your experience, Andres, when you were coming into the company, I'm sure there was a big difference between the training that you were used to in the previous brokerage and also the new one through an online basis. So what has I guess what has that transition been like, and how has that kind of impacted your business as somebody who's already practicing real estate?
So as far as for what I would like to touch bases on is the accessibility that you have to top producers, right? Your icon agents and people that have actually built these large organizations within EXP. Um, I'm lucky to be a part of the Wolfpack with y'all, right? And the information that is filtered through the mastermind, like this morning, I was on a mastermind with Connor, and as a real estate agent, we never think about our health. We never think about how we could benefit from that, how we could maximize our energy. Uh, he went over um, how we should probably eat, how we should stretch, how we should maintain our bodies and make sure that we maintenance them. And as a real estate agent, most brokerages are not going to be invested in what you do in your everyday life. Um, what I like about, especially being a part of the Wolfpack, is they're always thinking outside the box. Anything that has helped them in their success, they're willing to share. And to have someone, other peers, invested in your growth is what I think is the greatest resource that you have within EXP is just having a different view or a different outlook or someone giving you information on what drove them to success and how you can use that information to grow your business. And honestly, while I have been part of EXP, I have made some conscious decisions to go to the gym, eat better, uh, kind of plan my days, uh, learn about AI, learn about social media. And those are all ideas that I got through Connor's masterminds.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool because a lot of people when they think about, getting trained, they're just thinking, what am I going to get as a newer agent, right? But they don't think about, when you're 2, 3, 5, 10, even 10 years into your career as an agent, what type of trainings should you be expecting, or what type of trainings is going to be the most relevant for you at that point in your career, right? And it's not necessarily how to generate more leads or how to close out a contract or anything like that because you already have the experience, but it's more so like the things you're talking about, right? Being able to plan your day, how to maintain your health, mental and physically, and a lot of things to actually scale up your business and potentially even retire one day. So there's really a lot of training that you get at EXP, and it kind of covers from all types of experience levels depending on where you're at. So I think just to wrap up here, talk a little bit about. It'll be good to talk a little bit about when a brand new agent who just got their license comes into the brokerage. Maybe in their first 30 days or their first couple months as an agent. What would be like the best path that you guys recommend? Because you both are EXP certified mentors. So you guys are mentoring new agents quite often, or at least more so than other agents. So if you were to, come across a brand new agent, right, what would your suggestion for them to be, as far as what trainings to go through, what should they be learning first, second, and third, in what order, in order to ensure that they actually have some success in the industry? And we'll start with you, Tony, and we'll wrap up with Andres.
I think the main thing for a new agent is to follow the process that's established by your broker, by EXP, if it's the EXP. So you go through, okay, so on the onboarding process, we have here in Texas, we have what's called the Texas briefcase, which is like, okay, this is what you do, step one, recommended things to do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. All those things should be done, not necessarily, you don't have to wait for week 2 things. If you've already caught up on week 1, you can kind of do things. But main thing is everything needs to get checked off. It's a great idea to essentially come up with your own training calendar that says, okay, I'm gonna block off time to do this training, because if you don't do that training, a lot of times it's going to get put on the back burner, on the back burner, and what's going to happen is you're going to feel maybe a little bit lost. So these trainings are designed to go from A to Z and help you be the most effective realtor that you can. So it's really important just to take that training and devote yourself to get that thing finished. It's not, mandatory that you do it, and that's part of the problem, because like people, they're gonna run their own business the way they see fit. But this is all great, helpful information. So they would need to do the eXp training online, attend brokerage meetings as well, and just find the time to do it. The great thing about the training is they can be at their own pace. So even if it takes them 12 weeks to do something where someone else could do it in 5 weeks, that's okay, but they got through it. At the end of the day, just get through the training, take as many notes as possible, make sure you interview the mentors because you're going to get a list of mentors, talk to them, get some feedback, make sure that there's a good connection, and just kind of go with your gut and select the mentor you feel is going to be best for you. Go through the training and make sure to write some questions if you have questions or if you're not sure about things, and then ask your mentor, for some feedback or for what their thoughts are on that kind of stuff. I think that's probably the best way for a new agent to be most successful with eXp.
Right. Yeah. I don't think a lot of agents, especially when you're a brand new agent, you tend to start out probably part time, right? You probably have another job. So if you're not intentional about your training and actually getting it done and setting your own calendar, usually what happens, right? Like you said, it doesn't get done. So make sure to actually look at the training schedule, the training sequence that the brokerage already put together for you, because it's done, after many, training many agents, and after, mistakes and fixing and actually developing a sequence that works for new agents. So trust it, right? Go after, put it in your calendar and actually get the trainings done. So that's actually great advice. What about you, Andres? I know you've worked with a lot of newer agents, right? You mentioned in the previous episode, you got your first mentee, and you also got a lot of great advice when you were a new agent coming in to actually help you get started. So what would your advice be, now that you're kind of in the mentor position for new agents?
So as far as for me, what I like to do is I like to schedule a call with my mentee, so I can, if they're here within close to where I am at, we'll meet physically at a location. If not, we can always jump on a Zoom call. And what I like to do is I like to get to know their personality. I like to kind of get feedback. How do they like to learn? And then after that, I guide them to the resources and the curriculum that's supported by eXp to all new agents. And then I set up a time and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be as invested in you as you're going to be invested in yourself. So I will make myself available at any time. And if I don't answer your call, I will follow up with you within that hour. One thing that I like to tell them is I like to hold people accountable. So if we're reaching to a goal, and my goal is for them to grow a successful business, is I'll meet with them once a week. And usually it's going to be like one of the slower days where there's less showings, usually like a Wednesday, because Thursday through Sunday, they're traditionally a little bit busier days. You're out showing, you're doing inspections. So I identify a day that's a little bit slower for both of us. And then I go over the progressions that they've made over the past week. Where are you in your curriculum? Have we set up our super key, our showing time? Have we set up SkySlope? Do you know how to navigate EXP world? Do you know how to navigate anything that's like KV Core? One of the main things is we all want leads, but we don't like to set up or invest time in KV Core. So how are we going to get leads if we're not using the resource and building up the resource? So, and I don't try to tackle everything at once. We focus on one thing. I also sit down. I'll print out the documents if I'm sitting with them physically. But if we're like on a Zoom call, I could share my screen. and go over the forms. Why do we use an IBS? Why do you need a buyer's rep? Why do we use general information for buyers and sellers? I have them go over that document. I'll tell them, like, hey, go over this document, and then we're going to go over it together. So if you have any questions, I am going to answer them to the best of my ability to make sure you're educated and you feel comfortable. So I have to prepare a mentee to build that confidence to meet for the first time with a buyer or a seller. Um, I know when I started, I was prepared and I was very confident, and I was able to grow my business a lot sooner than later because I was prepared and someone invested in me. So I just try to return the favor with future new real estate agents. And I just let them know I'm going to be accessible. We got to follow the curriculum. Um, Everything that is going to be communicated is the law. I'm not going to make up anything. It's how it's written. I'm not rewriting anything. I'm giving you the information that's going to guide you to success. So just guiding them to the resources.
Yep, absolutely. As a new agent, that's so important. And I think, and this is something that you both have been doing like really, really well on, which is even getting, just continuing the training process, right? Continuing the education process, going to, even if you're, very successful in your first couple of months, right? What are some trainings that you are continuously hopping on, right, throughout the week, right? If we have these trainings throughout the cloud, throughout our group, they happen every week and they happen on the same day and the same time every week as well. So continuing to jump on them, continuing to repeat and review the information, as well as apply it to other parts of your business as well. I think it's so important. So for anybody coming into industry who's a little bit newer, think about that, as well as what are some trainings that you can really kind of just grab onto and kind of plug into on a continuous basis. But you know thank you guys so much again for sharing your knowledge. I think we covered a lot as far as just understanding what some of the training processes are and what some of the resources we get at eXp, as well as all these cool events that we get to go to throughout the year. So super excited to be seeing you guys in person soon here at some of these events. But other than that, appreciate it. If you guys want to learn more about partnering with us, partnering with Tony and Andres, having them being your mentors in real estate, make sure to reach out. The description will have their information, so make sure to contact them. But other than that, appreciate you guys and appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Real Estate Roundup. Take care.
Take
Take
care.
care.